Hey, guys, what up, man? What up, man? It's the kid, man. It's the kid, man. Welcome to the channel, man. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Half Up Shop, man, where the wine is free and the women are thick. Easy, 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 easy. Me too, me too. Hashtag me too. Hashtag me too. Hashtag me too. Hashtag me too. Okay, all right, it's okay. Women's rights. Guys, look, man. I'm just here, man. Here on a Sunday, lovely day. Sunday, man. So in case you guys would have seen the video, I put up the Half Hopes Hot website is out. My personal website is out. This is a website where everything that I like, non-football, is there. So stuff on rap, stuff on flipping, freaking what was it? Basically stuff on rap, comic books, video games, anime, animation, films. The International Brick Academy has now launched the Brick Academy is expanding. It's all in there, man. So and for me, I think the website has a nice vibe. It's got a very nice kind of 80s kind of vibe, man. So look, man, as we do again, I always say shout out to the nurses out there, the nurses and the doctors. Shout out, you do an amazing job, a compelling job, and for me, I will always give you guys a huge job in these small, little, intimate live shows that your boy HH does. And because look, my HH is here he's for the kids. HH is like Wu-Tang. HH is for the kids, man. So before we go through with this is the routine that we all do. What are you having? What's your meal? I'm having biscuits. These are some nice, very sweet biscuits, called Cookie Collection, made in Germany, made in Alemagny. So we have to run through what everyone is eating, because I think this is going to be definitely one of my favorites. It's not as heavy. I'm sure there are a few more racism topics to come through, but this is a really good one because I think I'm going to have fun. So what are you guys eating? What are you guys eating, man? So from Footy Wizard, who says, thoughts on the Taken franchise? It was quality. Did you send me was it you that sent me an email about this or not? But yeah, look, Taken is a quality franchise. It is a really, really damn good franchise, man. It's a really interesting idea. Obviously, Liam Neeson turned out to be a bit of a racist, man. But it's a great franchise. It's a really good franchise. It's because it gives you a different look of an action hero, and why I always like guys that approach action properties in a new and refreshing way, man. So that's why I think it's quite quality and it's quite cool, man. So let's just see what guys are eating, man. So rice, chicken, and milk. Wow. Okay, that's quite an interesting thing. So are you is this full skimmed milk, semi-skimmed milk, or is it coconut milk? That's the key thing. Is it coconut milk? Shout outs. Happy Ramadan to all of those people who are fasting out there, man. Happy Ramadan to all the people who are fasting, man. Hope you guys do your thing. Hope you guys do your thing, man. I am with you all the way, man. I'm with you all the way. Lasagna. So what kind of lasagna is it? So is it veggie lasagna, meat lasagna, chicken lasagna? What are you mixing your lasagna with? Guys, I want details when you give me this stuff, man. I need those details. Chips. Again, what kind of chips are these? Are these wedges? Are they thinly cut chips? What kind of chips specifically are they, man? I need details. Wedges, chips, cauli fries. I need these details, man. I need these details. Did someone just say they're having a Magnum? Interesting. So, Food Wizard with another dub, man. It says, do you like Dear Mama from Tupac, or is this too sappy? Yes, it was me. Okay. No. Dear Mama is a great track. You see, anybody who knows me that I hate sappy. Sorry, I don't have an emotional bond in my body unless if I'm acting. If I'm acting, then I bring out all the emotions. But apart from that, no. The writing on Dear Mama is impeccable. Anything that has impeccable writing is quality. Anything that has impeccable writing is quality, man. You break the house. So you guys break the fast in half an hour. Coolio, man. Coolio. Well, when you break the fast, you have to have a great meal. At the moment right now, I'm trying to find a way of how I can get some egusi soup. I've got some yam flour, which I can cook, but I'm trying to find a way where I can get some pounded yam and a egusi and roll it through, man. Okay, so let's go right down to what we're here for, man. This is going to be a great topic, man. Remember, guys, this is free. Look, this is a fully interactive live thing. So it's not like if okay, this is proper. So send me questions midway through. I will take whatever interesting comments are. This I want this to be fully interactive because this is a chill out session. It's very informal, very chill out. So the rise and decline of the W. No. We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. Sorry. Let me just change that. And let me even address it right now. Rise and decline of the WWF. I refuse to call it the WWE. Because for me, I take this really personally. See, I get why Vince McMahon did what he did because you're gonna get sued. you're gonna get sued. And you see, legally, the World Wildlife Fund have a point. They were called WWF before the WWF. So no, legally right. The thing that pisses me off, I remember this distinctly. This is when I was going to school in Geneva, and this is when I was like, this was during the WCW era, but I was still like a wrestling fan and a WWF fan. I remember just walking through. We had like a fair or something, and I remember seeing this image of this panda. And it's had a WWF. I said, wait a minute, there's something called WWF. There's only one WWF. Lo and behold, I was like, so I knew after the fact that WWF was a World Wildlife Fund, but throughout the 80s, throughout the 90s, if you said WWF, it's meant World Wrestling Federation. So do you know what really pisses me off? Wrestling made that moniker famous. So the World Wildlife Fund waited until the letters WWF became popular. Then they sued. So do you actually just think about how sick that is? I'm all for the animals. Shout out to the ants, the rats, the pelicans, the flipping fish. Shout out to my piranhas out there. Your homies, the bears. Give it up to the spiders. Give it up to the pigeons. Give it up to the frog. Give it up to all animals, man. We're all one family. Just don't eat me. But the thing that just pisses me off is you waited until wrestling did all the hard work to make the letters WWF famous, and then said, now it's mine. Guys, do you know how sick that is right now? So when guys like me, who were born in the 80s, are like, you know what, let me look up that some WWF stuff. I click in WWF and it will now direct me to, oh, the WWF name isn't around. It's now been taken by the World Wildlife Fund. It's a cheap way of getting traction for your company. Because my argument is that why didn't you sue them in the early 90s? Why didn't you sue them in the 80s? Why didn't you sue them in the early 90s? Why didn't you sue them all this time? You waited until they got supremely famous, because once they did this I think they did it around the Attitude Era. Because I remember like the WWF, they went from the golden letters to the, guys, look, man, we're interactive, man. Let me bring this up, man. So remember this. Fucking losers, man. Oh my God. See, this is what pisses me off right now. This is what pisses me off. You type in WWF logo. Look at what we have. So you now have to click old school. Oh, guys. You know, this just gives me goosebumps. You see, I don't know how old some of you were. Seeing this classic logo with like Mean Gene Okerlund, Macho Man, Jake the Snake, all those dudes, man, goosebumps. So yeah, so like this was it. And then around the Attitude Era, I think this was WWF. God, look at how good that logo is. Look at how good that logo is. And these pricks, I'm sorry, maybe I'm the only guy that's, I don't know, maybe I'm weird or odd because I feel this way, but this WWF was synonymous with World Wrestling Federation. But there is method to the madness, as I say, because we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We're going to take a trip down memory lane. Let's just see what you guys are saying. Ooh, good job. Oh, from Footy Wisdom, thank you for the dub. It says that you got them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down is one of the best Punisher quotes ever from Daredevil season 2. I love the Punisher and Batman is a half measure loser. We're gonna do a Punisher Batman thing, but I want to respond to that. I remember that line, and it's so funny you bring that line up. When Punisher said that line, the first person I thought of was Batman, and I've always said that Batman is a poor man's Punisher. Batman is a poor man's Punisher. I've always loved Punisher psychology because the Punisher is like, these are criminals. They'll never change. So I'm just going to kill them because once I kill them, they can never come back and say what's up. Once I kill them, they can never come back and say what's up. So I've always loved that. I've always loved that, man. But yeah, man. Yeah. No. But yeah, look. That is why the Punisher is such an iconic thing because, as I said again, Batman hits them, they get back up. Hits them, they get back up. Punisher, it's like I don't know what it's called, utilitarianism or something. Me taking away one life is going to save hundreds of lives. So Batman's dumbass rule of like, I will not kill. Okay, don't kill, you moron. By the time these guys come out of the worst city in the world, by you not killing them, you're actually doing more harm than good. But if you kill them, the amount of lives will be saved. That's why. So Batman, you have no balls. Batman is one of the most. I love Batman, but he's literally the most overrated hero in the world. I hated Progressnar ending the streak. We'll get there. We'll get there. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry, guys. We'll get there. Guys, we're gonna go in because before I say this, let me say this right now. Wrestling was. I wanted to be a wrestler when I was young, man. So wrestling is literally one of my most favorite things in the world. Wrestling is literally one of my most favorite things in the world, man. So it was the greatest. So let's just start from the very beginning, because there is a method to why Vince McMahon went with WWE. There's a method to why he went with WWE, and that is because way back in the 80s, that was when they were focused on, wrestling. We're trying to make it wrestling because this is when they were trying to make it look realistic. So people didn't really know the levels as to whether this thing was realistic, whether it was not. But Vince McMahon then had a eureka moment, because one of the most iconic revolutionary changes in wrestling was when Vince McMahon said that this isn't wrestling, this is entertainment. Or if you want to go deeper, this is entertainment masked and covered in the coating of wrestling. And what she now had was, do you know why wrestling was the greatest thing ever? Wrestling was like football and film combined. I've always said my two passions in this world are football and films. But wrestling mixed the sporting reality of football with the theatrics and scripting of films. So literally, it was like two of these worlds came together as one. Literally, two of these worlds came together as one to make it amazing. And bro, I'm even gonna get there because that is key. When wrestling, so I think I was about 12. No, it was when I went to Geneva. I think I was about 10 or 11 when I found out it was fake. And it was actually my uncle that told me it was fake, and I didn't believe it. But then I did some more research. When I thought wrestling was real, it was the most amazing thing in the world. I still loved football. I still loved film. But during the time when I thought wrestling was real, there was nothing that came close. Because when you think it was real, you get so engrossed. Because the beauty of wrestling was when you thought it was real, you could never be disappointed by what you saw in a football game. Because there are some football games where you will hype and it doesn't live up to expectation. Liverpool and Tottenham in the CL final. But what this dude was able, I mean, but what this dude Vince McMahon was able to do was, you will never get disappointed. That WrestleMania match was always going to come money. That WrestleMania match was always going to come money. But for wrestling to pop off, they needed a superstar. They needed a face. Obviously, you had Jimmy Snuka earlier on. You had Andre the Giant, but they needed a character. They needed a character, and they needed someone. So once they realized that, all right, they had a face, all bets were off. All bets were off, and the face was Hulk Hogan. You know, and look, I was a massive Hulk Hogan fan, and Hulk Hogan, because Hulk Hogan was the guy that popularized and launched WrestleMania. WrestleMania became famous and known to the world because of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was the guy that really promoted that kind of iconography of the group. So once he had that, it was all about Hogan, but it was really about Hogan and because for me, I think whenever you think of eras, I think of eras in twos, and we'll get it. So the first popular era of wrestling was Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man Randy Savage is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Randy, and the thing about it was, whether it's a Randy Savage, a Mr. Perfect, a Jake the Snake, a $1 Million Man, Teddy DiBiase, all these dudes, these guys were actually crazy. That's the trick. These guys were actually insane. These guys were actually insane. So that was just what made it amazing, man. Oh yeah, D Generation X. No, just we'll get them, man. We'll get them, man. There are not too many Supermans in today's. It's been, bro. I'm gonna get to today's era. So what was key about the successful launch was that you had amazing characters. Hulk Hogan was an amazing character who you believed in him, and he played the great hero. He also played an amazing villain, which we'll also get to as well. But you had Macho Man Randy Savage, who was so unique, so crazy, so mad. People loved him because Macho Man Randy Savage was a perfect antithesis to Hulk Hogan. You know, you had Hulk Hogan, the straight and narrow all-American hero. You had Macho Man Randy Savage, a guy who looked like if he was sniffing glue and grass every single night. But you also had Ultimate Warrior, who was his own well-defined thing. You had Jake the Snake, his own well-defined thing. You had Mr. Perfect. Do you know how amazing the character of Teddy DiBiase was? Where Teddy DiBiase has one of the greatest lines in life. Forget about wrestling, greatest lines in life. Everybody's got a price. Mine is 250 billion. That's my price. So that's why everybody got a price. 250 billion, I can do almost anything for you. That's my price. 252 billion. I need that extra two. 252 billion, I can do anything for you. So it launched, it went through. And this is where Vince McMahon was like an Alex Ferguson. I liken Vince McMahon to a Fergie because society changes. The 80s and like the early 90s was perfect for a character like a Hulk Hogan. But once we're now getting into the mid 90s and the late 90s, because remember, you were now seeing the effects of grunge music, the effects of Nirvana, the effects of Chili Peppers, the effects of these kinds of cutting edge films, like the effects of like a Pulp Fiction, the effects of The Usual Suspects, '7. The culture was changing. And Vince McMahon knew wisely that a Hulk Hogan can't fit. And this is now where things get interesting. So that is where you now had the birth of Shawn Michaels. Now, let me say this right now. I hated Shawn Michaels. because he was just everything about him. He was just very sick and very smarmy. As a young guy, I was like, okay, this dude is just for the girls. So as a young dude, you're like, so he was just a very smarmy person. But Shawn Michaels was one of the best wrestlers of all time in terms of entertainment and having great matches and his command of the ring and his execution of his moves. He's easily one of the best wrestlers that's the WWF has ever. Like has to go into top 5 in ring performers. He didn't have a great personality. He wasn't good at cutting promos as like Hogan or Macho Man, but he was amazing in the ring. But who was his rival? Bret Hart. Bret Hart was one of my heroes because for me, Bret Hart just came across as this is just a decent guy. And I was a nice guy growing up. And because he was such a decent guy and a likable guy, I was like, you know what, this is a guy that, I can ride with. This is a guy that I can truly believe in. And this is a guy that's just, he's just straight up cool. This guy's just straight up cool. And I don't know whether you guys remember the Iron Man match where Bret Hart fought against Shawn Michaels. Crazy, crazy match. But again, I don't want to ruin it for you. Just go into YouTube and watch the match. One of the greatest matches in wrestling history, the Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Now, at this time, just like Microsoft, you can't stay on top of the hill forever. You can't stay on top of the hill forever, man. Bro, Bret Hart is very underrated. People don't give that guy his due. That guy was a solid wrestler. A solid wrestler. That guy was a solid flipping wrestler, man. I don't think I remember that one. I think I've got to look at that. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. I've got to look at that one, man. I'll do it at the end. I will give my top 5 wrestlers at the end. So, you always have to have a rival. So while Shawn Michaels was the face of the WWF, there was another arena that was rising. There's another arena that was rising. Do you know what that is? I'm sure you guys will know. What was the other threat that was rising during the reign of Shawn Michaels? Where Vince McMahon thought, no, there is no way that we can be touched. I want to see it in the comments. First person to say it. What's the other rival that was rivaling the WWF's thingy? First person to WCW. Because what WCW did and what Eric Bischoff did. Let's even bring him up. What your boy Eric Bischoff did was he said, okay, and this is business. So guys who know business will know this is what this is a 101 of business. If you're in business with someone, don't copy. If you copy, you'll just be an imitation. And if you copy something that is already successful, you're just going to be lagging behind. So WCW decided. Actually, wait, why do I have it? Why was he holding a thing here? Where is Eric Bischoff? WCW. They decided to go in the complete opposite direction of the WWF. And they said, you know what we're going to do? All of the guys who have been discarded, by the WWF, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, we're going to bring them in. And guys, I'll tell you this right now. This was when WCW were winning. This was when the unthinkable happened, because it was unthinkable to think that anybody could defeat the WWF during that time. But this is when the unthinkable happened. Guys, wait. Oh my God, what's the name of that crew? Hey, Hollywood Hogan. NWO, sorry, NWO. Guys, this was one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. Now, yeah, you have to understand the context now. Look, man, what's showing our age, man? Those who know this will show our age. I told you. If you do the math, you can pretty much guess how old I am. Interesting. NW made and killed WCW. In what sense? I'm interested to expand on that. But for me, the NWO shot WCW to number one because kids were like, that's what we want. We want anti-establishment. No more clean-cut Hulk Hogan. No more clean-cut Shawn Michaels. We want anti-establishment. One of the most iconic moments in wrestling was when you saw Hulk Hogan turn into a Hollywood Hogan. I remember watching that live. I was in shock. I was in complete shock. I was like, what? Really? What the heck? Oh my God. Oh my God. So it was huge. So then this is now when you now have to now backtrack and now say to yourselves that Vince McMahon had to be a Fergie. So imagine like WCW was like a Man City or a Mourinho Chelsea. Fergie was like, I've got to break up and rebuild. So it was out with Shawn Michaels. And it was in with, you know what? We now have to now take things to the next level. The Attitude Era, man. And again, this man knew that it is not just about introducing a new era and say we have a new era. You needed a face. They had the face before, which was Hulk Hogan. They had the face right now, which was and the so the face before was Hulk Hogan. The face in the 90s was Shawn Michaels. They needed a face. But this was the first time we're like, it's not about a face. It was about two faces. Hey, Two-Face. It was about two faces. And for me, this, I believe, was, you could argue, was the greatest era and most successful era of wrestling. The Rock and Stone Cold. The Flaming Skull and the Brahma Bull. Because what McMahon realized is that you have to react to what is happening out there. And the Attitude Era was, because again, Attitude Era had many different dudes, but again, we'll go through all of them. But at the forefront of the Attitude Era were these dudes: Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And what was different about it was that there wasn't a hero. These were both anti-heroes. Stone Cold Steve Austin was always anti-establishment, but people just gravitated towards him. But he never changed into a quote-unquote good guy. The Rock was always a guy here, I'm here to mock you and insult you. I'm here to go against the grain. But people loved that. But he never changed his character. So what you now had was a shift with regards to what does being the face of a WWF mean. It no longer means you have to be the quote-unquote good guy, because before it was black and white. It was like good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. But now it was like, oh no, we have shades of gray. Shades of gray. And but I say this right now because Stone Cold Steve Austin was huge. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But The Rock was on a different level. The Rock was on a whole different level, man. What he was, because people forget, SmackDown was invented because of The Rock. People need to give smack, because again, layeth the smack the downeth, layeth, and you smell the SmackDown was invented because The Rock popularized the term SmackDown, and it was so synonymous with everybody, me included, and all the kids. Vince was like, "Oh my god, let's turn this into a segment." So that segment exists because of The Rock, and I think what The Rock was able to do in terms of doing his matches, but it was his promo work. Because before The Rock, the greatest promo guy on the mic was Hulk Hogan, but The Rock took it to the next level. And just the amounts of, jabroni drive, if you smell, finally, I've returned to New. I mean, the amount of different things that he was able to do, he took the entertainment level. He just took the entertainment content to the next level, man. And what are we doing here? But people call him Triple H. Do you remember? Do you guys remember this dude? No, sorry. Do you remember this dude? This was before he was Triple H. I remember when Hunter Hearst Helmsley debuted. And also, he stole my name, by the way. My name is Double H. Because I remember when Hunter Hearst Helmsley debuted, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because again, whenever you come, you have to come with a moniker or a character. So his character was an English aristocrat. But then he knew that ain't going to fly. And then he obviously went from that to, of course, these dudes. Generation X. And guys, the amount of times in school we used to go to guys and basically do this, like, literally, anytime you would do something to someone or mess them up, it was like, yeah, suck it. And we didn't actually realize that. Do you know what we're actually? Because in our mind was like, yeah, suck it, man, suck it. But we're like, wait, do you actually understand what that literally means? But yeah, these guys were literally like, everyone wanted to be these dudes, and these were the guys. And you just had many of the dudes were like, we are anti-establishment. We are about going against our parents, going against rules, going against school, and not being told what to do. Everybody aspired to be like, you wanted to be in this crew. You wanted to play to be in this crew, man. So pretty much said, thoughts on Edge, Ric Flair, Boogeyman. No, Edge. I respect Edge's. I think Edge was better when he was with. I think is it Jeff Hardy? He was better when he was with that dude, because I think they used to have great TLC matches, tables, ladders, and chairs. There's so many wrestlers to talk about. Ric Flair is a legend. Ric Flair, I think, is from the 70s. Ric Flair is from the 70s. Finger licking, stone getting, salad. No, because he's called Ric Flair. It's like how obviously Zad and Dino have Flair. Before Zad and Dino, you had Ric Flair was the original Flair artist. Ric Flair was the original Shawn Leg dude. So you had all this stuff happening right now. But the thing though was, The Rock and Stone Cold set such a high standard. It was then very difficult to reach that benchmark. And Vince knew that I have to rechange things. But also people have to, because also people say Vince is, selfish and stuff like that. But people have to give a little credit to Vince, because Vince making himself a wrestler was a genius move. And you know how Vince cares, because Vince didn't care about himself looking like a loser and looking like a prick. Because all Vince cares about is this thing is successful. If I have to have someone sit on my face, someone slap me, in order for kids to be happy and people to be entertained, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make myself look like a fool as long as you're happy and you're entertained. Because the concept of Stone Cold fighting Vince McMahon was genius. That was flipping genius. And the fact that you'd see Vince McMahon in hospital with a cast, and Stone Cold would see burst into the hospital, and I was like, but because again, the Attitude Era was when they took the storytelling to the very next level, because that is when they would break the fourth wall. So you'd see stuff in dressing rooms, you'd see stuff on the streets. Like I think there was a time when, like, I think Stone Cold basically ran The Rock's car off the bridge. I was like, the imagination of the stuff was crazy. It's when you had Hell in a Cell matches, you had like Undertaker against Mankind. You had no holds barred matches where it took place in the ring, it took place outside, it took place in the crowd. This was wrestling to the brim. But no matter how inventive you are, you have to have characters. You have to have characters, man. So it's so you say to yourself that what has happened to wrestling now? You say to yourself, what has happened to wrestling now? Is it a case of it's just the declined because the storylines are not very good and it's just run out of juice? Or is it something else? And for me, I think it's something else. You see, let's talk about this dude right now. Because after the Attitude Era, I tapped out. After the Attitude Era, I tapped out. Let's talk about this dude. You see, I'm not a fan of John Cena, but I respect John Cena. So what I mean by that? You see, it's so funny how they choose the face of the franchise. It's almost as if wrestling has now gone back to the Hulk Hogan ideology, because John Cena is the modern day Hulk Hogan. He literally is. He's the modern day Hulk Hogan, i.e., be respectful, set a great example, goody two-shoes, and so forth, and what kids can aspire to be decent people. He is the complete antithesis and opposite of what The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin represented. But the thing about it, though, is the personalities. And it's hard. It's hard because you have to have personality and you have to have wrestling talent. I believe a lot of the wrestlers right now have great wrestling talent. I mean, if you look at this dude here, I believe this dude is a talented wrestler. I think he's a talented wrestler, and I think he does want to try and evoke a kind of aura, but he just doesn't have the personality. He just doesn't have the personality. So he, I believe, is supposed to represent like a Macho Man, Randy Savage, or the early days Stone Cold Steve Austin. But Steve Austin and Macho Man, they had such an interesting personality. And when you don't have the personality, you can be the best wrestler you want to. It ain't going to work. You see, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time, arguably, is this dude. Him. He is. I want to go old school, because I remember seeing this dude for the first time. It was one of the. I was seeing Undertaker for the first time, and it was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. I was terrified of the Undertaker, but what was amazing about this was, and this is why he's so smart with what he did. The Undertaker pretty much picked an amazing character, and the beauty about his character is that he didn't have to speak. Because when you now have to speak, you now have to now are forced into a personality. The only guy that spoke was Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer was the guy that basically did all of his speaking, but the Undertaker, what made him so good was, I just represent darkness. I represent death. I represent evil. I represent that creepiness, and I represent mystery. And we all love people that are mysterious. We all love those dudes who don't really say anything. But he says that what are the characters, man? You see, Again, you see, I had already left. I'd already checked out when CM Punk came. And I think whenever you see CM Punk and all these dudes and everything, is like, why don't they have the same impact as a Stone Cold and The Rock does? Because you say to yourself that, yo, how is wrestling declining when last WrestleMania I saw these guys packed out a whole arena? That is because when I say decline, wrestling overall hasn't declined because Vince McMahon and the McMahons are geniuses. They have been able to change and tweak wrestling in order to feed the audience. They're able to tap in, or what should I say, Triple H and so forth. They're able to tap into what does the audience want now? What do they want now? What is cool now? What would work now? And that's what they give them. So it's rather, maybe we're just living in a society that isn't very interesting. We're not living in a society that's really as popular as it was back in the 90s or early 2000s. So because I've tried to watch wrestling, because every single time I'm like, you know what, let me just pop this in. And the thing about wrestling wasn't just about the fights. Wasn't what it was about. Like those Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in a Cell, those were amazing fights. But they weren't amazing just because of the fights. They were amazing because of just how crazy both those characters were. Mankind is an amazing character. He's an amazing character because you're like, what is this? What is he? Now, I didn't really like it when he sort of changed his image and so forth. But what is he? But it's like, yeah, you have to. It's, I always say this is very similar to rap. I believe these guys are very skilled, but with rap, it's like, what are you saying? Yeah, we know you're skilled. You can rap, but what are you saying? So for these guys, I know you wrestle very good, but when they now put the microphone in front of you, what is your character? Like, The Rock was so iconic. He forged a movie career. The Rock only has a movie career because of wrestling. The Rock has not released one decent film. And The Rock is still the most popular actor on the planet because of what he did in wrestling. Because he has such an amazing personality, which he's not been able to properly cash in on in Thingamajig, man. Let's see what you guys say. You can't. Basically, John Cena is. No, actually, you know what the thing is this though, because he said John Cena. I said you can't call him the GOAT, but let's be real right now. If you look at guys who defined their eras, you're going to say Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. Some guys who were the face of their eras: Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Shawn Michaels. You can say because I say Bret Hart, but it really is Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. I think going to say John Cena. Like there was the Hogan era, the Shawn Michaels era, the Rock and Stone Cold era, and the John Cena era. So by that account, you have to put him up there with the GOATs of wrestling. You have to, because I've just named you the wrestlers who were literally the face of an entire era of wrestling. I don't think a Randy Orton or who is the new champion? I mean, who are the main guys now? I don't think any of these dudes can say that they were at the forefront or as popular as me. I tapped out of wrestling, and I knew wrestling because of John Cena. The fact that John Cena is getting Hollywood films and is getting Hollywood things is because of his flipping popularity. So you've got to give it up to him. You've got to give it up to him, But one thing I will say, though, John Cena has a great intro track. You can't see me. You can't see me. I'll give him that. He's got a great he's got a great intro track. But Wrestling just isn't the same. It just isn't the same. And I really think it's basically, if I was head of talent in wrestling, if I was head of talent, see, I think that the issue is scouting. The issue is scouting. So if I was head of talent, I would be very, because they're out there. Those guys are out there. And maybe the talent scouts now aren't as good as they used to be. Because what wrestling needs is they need a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock for this era. They're out there. Those guys are out there. Because I think, what's it called? I forgot. There's this dude. I remember seeing him. It's like that like that Japanese wrestler. That's an interesting character. That Japanese wrestler he's coming in with something. He's different. That Japanese wrestler is it Takamura or something, like he stands out. And now you see, wrestling has to be careful because we're now seeing the rise of, I think is it TNA, and we're seeing the rise of I forgot what it's called. I think there's this Japanese company that's also rising as well. Because what could happen? You could have another WCW. Because if they remain too stale, you could have other guys coming through, man. You see, Dave Bautista, I didn't really, as one, Nakamura. See, I didn't really, I wasn't really there with Dave Bautista. So I only know of Dave Bautista based on Guardians of the Galaxy. But when you even look at Dave Bautista and look at what he looks like a flipping truck. The guy really looks like a flipping truck and steamroller. So in that sense, if he was marketed well, it could have worked. But you see what's happening now. This is what's happening. A lot of wrestlers are saying to themselves that, let me get famous enough in order to have a career in Hollywood. Let me get famous enough in order to have a career in Hollywood. Yeah, I think AEW, yeah. I don't know what it is, but I'm seeing a lot of, is it AEW? Because there was one that, I think it was Carl that showed me, and I was like, okay. Oh, this is Chris Jericho, AEW. You see? Because what you're seeing right now is that you're seeing the rise of other things being, and you know what's happening? It's almost history repeating itself. These guys like AEW, Action Sports, and all the kind of wrestling things, they're like, you know what? WWF for now has now returned back to being the more kind of clean cut face that used to be during the whole Hogan era. Hence why you now have that Ghanaian dude like Kojo. I think he was the champion last time that I saw, because he won the Royal Rumble. Oh, no, so I think he won the Royal Rumble, and then he then went on to win the belt. But my thing though is, see, these guys, when we look at what these guys are doing, it's very gritty, it's very real, it's very edgy. And I think what people now want is, because I think what people want and gravitate towards is great storylines and great guys, it's characters. The reason why WCW said what's up to WWF is they had characters like flipping Big Show, Stephen Nash, Sting, who, hey, do you guys know Sting was a ripoff of The Crow? I used to think that Sting, oh my gosh, this guy, he's so original, he's so cool. I was like, and then I watched The Crow, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy literally ripped off The Crow. I mean, it worked, but it was a complete ripoff of The Crow. So that's what. So I believe that what you're going to see now, if Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Vince McMahon are not careful, and also Shane McMahon, if they're not careful, these other dudes could really rise up and become big. See, what these guys need is just a star. If these guys get like a truly interesting star, then these dudes are in trouble, man. Thoughts on Eddie Guerrero, man? Oh no, Eddie Guerrero was really, see, all the Mexican wrestlers are really good, really good. Technically, the best wrestler I've ever seen is Rey Mysterio. He's technically the best wrestler I've ever seen. And Eddie Guerrero as well was very good. Just the way in which he was athletic, he was acrobatic, the way he would move around the ring, he was really good. So the Mexican wrestlers don't play around, man. The Mexican wrestlers do not play around, man. So those guys are good, man. You see, so from what I hear, so correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Shinsuke Nakamura came from where did he come from? Did he come from AEW? But I know he came from another wrestling organization, and he was so big there, he was so huge there. He then got taken into wrestling. You see, if another wrestling organization can keep hold of a Shinsuke Nakamura and build their talents around him, that is what will compete. Because trust me, it doesn't matter how much money the WWF has and everything. If all you need is a character, people loved Sting. In WCW, people loved Sting and they loved the NWO. And that was a great rivalry. That was a great battle of good and evil, or rather, anti-hero and evil, which was Sting against NWO. So, what those wrestling guys, you just need a really charismatic dude, a really charismatic dude. I just said this here. Rey Mysterio, he is technically, some of the stuff that Rey Mysterio does is crazy, which is why I always say to people that whenever people say, whenever people say, "Oh, wrestling is fake," or it's not real, so it's performance, and as Vince McMahon said, this is entertainment. Now, even all because it's fake doesn't mean that it's not extremely hard to do. Do you know the amount of skill it takes to, at full pelt, do a flying kick on someone and not hit them? That's amazing skill. So you are not appreciating how tough they're, like if they're in UFC or in boxing. You are appreciating how amazing they are in terms of their technical skill and their performance in the ring. So I say Rey Mysterio has done some things that I've just never seen anyone do. The way this guy will jump on the rope, do a backflip and then pin you, to jump on the turnbuckle, do a triple flip. I was like, the kinds of things this guy could do are simply amazing, man. Ice cold take. John Cena got sky high popular due to his resemblance to military personnel and the US's global war on terror following 9/11. The Boy Scouts attitude would have been a joke in 90s. That is an interesting take. That is an interesting, because he always does the whole salute thing. That's an interesting take, because but when did John Cena come through? Because 2001, he wasn't around in 2001. Because again, Twin Tower thing was September 2001. And 2001 was still the remnants of the Attitude Era. And that was when the WCW wrestlers came into the WWF. But I just suppose that his military look and personnel. No, but I still think, because it was really long before he landed, I think it's more to do with timing. He had the right look and the right image for the time. You see, I don't. You say nobody wants to watch wrestling because it's fake. You have to. Okay, why do you watch films? Why do we watch action films? Action films aren't real. Like, the clue is in the title. It's entertainment. It's not supposed to be real. It's entertainment. And the key thing is, at the end of the day, people want to be entertained. I would rather watch an entertaining fake fight than a boring real fight. Okay. I'm not watching a fight just I don't want to watch a fight because it's real. I watch it because I want to be entertained. So even if in boxing they're hitting people, if it's a boring fight, I'm like, man, this is trash. Like some of Floyd Mayweather's fights. They're fighting, they're hitting those guys fully, but it's boring. So I'd rather watch something that is fake, that is exciting, than something that is real, which is boring. So yeah, I think you're missing the wrong end of the stick, bro. So, Brown is thank you for the super chat there. Vince is complacent and he's ruining stars. You see, Vince is a very, very, very um hard nosed dude, And and again, it's like the whole CM Punk story. Because I think you see, for me, I don't think CM Punk was on the level of the greats. But for me, CM Punk definitely stood out from everyone else. And I think CM Punk alluded to the fact that he wasn't allowed to be the guy. He just wasn't allowed to be the guy, even if he was getting popular. Because again, see, people say, "Oh, it's fake. It's already planned as to who becomes champion." No, really. You actually have to earn the right to be champion. You are only made to be champion if you are popular, and that popularity is down to you. Nothing Vince or wrestling can do can make you popular. You have to come with a character inside and outside of the ring that endears itself to people, either as a hero or a villain. Because there, like also, Macho Man is arguably the greatest villain in wrestling history, but he was such an amazing villain. It's made for a great storyline because people love to hate that villain because so a great for great stories, the hero must win, the villain must win. A truly great story is the villain must cheat to defeat the hero, then the hero must come back and gain his revenge on the villain. That is always a great story that has been told a million times and will always be relevant and good. But I think for Vince though is maybe he is missing opportunities and missing windows. Because I do feel that based on how much people loved CM Punk, he may have missed an opportunity to make CM Punk that dude. Like I was pissed off that Shawn Michaels got so much of the acclaim rather than Bret Hart. Because for me, Bret Hart was grossly underappreciated, Because I think Bret Hart would have made a great champion. So I think, yeah, there might be a bit of complacency and just bad decision making on the floor of Vince, man. Here's the interesting thing I'm saying, man. Oh, so John Cena was early 2002? Really? Wait a minute. Wait, am I? My God, what? Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, I didn't. Okay, you're right. 2002. You are right, man. From Armchair Greater Man, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat here, bro. Says, still baffles me that Triple H beat Punk when he was white hot. That killed his momentum and left a sour taste in his mouth. You see, that's the thing though, is timing is very key. Like, see now, I wasn't really into wrestling at this time, but I'll just to read and rituals. You have to know when to put that star over. I think that's the term that they use, putting the guy over. Because if you don't read the pulse of the audience and the fans, you could make a huge mistake because the success of your franchise and so forth is dependent on who you make the face of the franchise. Because it's for instance, it's like Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns is cool, but people haven't really gravitated towards him. They haven't really gravitated towards him. So the key thing is you can't force upon a star on people. The star is made by the fans and how popular they are. So I don't know why CM Punk wasn't made the face. I just don't know why. Maybe it's just a case of what image you want, but that's the same thing. You have to take your ego out of it. It's not about you. It's about the fans. It's about reading the pulse of the fans. And a lot of people liked CM Punk. Um, no. Basically, no. Vince is semi-retired. Like the main guy making the main people making the decisions are Stephanie McMahon and, and Triple H. Those are the guys making the decision, man. Uh, Vince is washed and has where bro like Rain Triple H runs the academy. Coming next does a far better job. Oh, sorry. Runs like Reigns. Triple H runs the academy. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's like I do feel that if Triple H, no, Triple H is from the old school. Triple H is from the early 90s. So I think if no, he's from the mid late he's from the mid 90s. So if Triple H is made fully in charge of everything, top to bottom, I think we could then possibly see a return. Like wrestling needs a kick in the balls. It needs a real kick in the balls to really come out and really emerge itself and coming through. And I think unless they do that, it's going to be difficult for them to say what's up, man. All right, so look, man. Last hour or so, send in whatever questions you want. Send in whatever your questions you want. I'm actually, I'll be back. Let me take a quick drink. A quick drink, and I'll be back. Send in your questions. Send in your questions, and I'll come back and I will answer all your questions. Quick drink right now. All right. So I'm back, guys. So Amchakuri says, thank you for the super chat. Who's greater, Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan? That is a difficult question. That is a really difficult question. Because you can't deny the impact of Hulk Hogan is huge. And remember, Hulk Hogan pretty much held a franchise aloft by himself. Because if you say Stone Cold, you have to say The Rock right next to me. Because The Rock and Stone Cold were like this. The Hulk was solo and then by himself. So I would have to say that overall, Hulk Hogan was greater because he helped launch WrestleMania, and he really was the upstart to really make wrestling popular. But I will say the more lasting legacy, a guy who left a greater legacy is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think legacy, Stone Cold. Greatness based on longevity and impact, Hulk Hogan. But that's a difficult one. But for me, I personally prefer Stone Cold to Hulk Hogan, all right, so what is I say, man? Bro, I watched the first episode of Berserk season 1. I'm scared. I'm not sure what the hell I just watched. The amount of violence and basically, I mean, I don't know what this guy's sword is as big as the universe. Sword is as big as the universe, and all I could see was red. All I could see was red. You know, so it was that other thing was wild, bro. I don't know. I don't think I saw. No, I didn't. Bro, I told you I have. I went out of WrestleMania long. The last WrestleMania I watched was when I think was when Brock Lesnar defeated Undertaker, which was annoying. That was annoying, you know. And because I was like, Brock Lesnar of all people. So I think that was the last time I watched wrestling. So um yeah. So the WWF nowadays doesn't target its products around 18 to 35-year-olds. So no, I think its target audience is. It depends. No, what is its target audience? I think probably right now its target audience is maybe because again, look, you're seeing a lot of females right now. You know, so because really the attitude era was for teenagers. It was for teenagers. So I think that it was maybe from like 16, 17 and so forth. Like for me, I'll tell you this right now. The only adult wrestling era that existed was WCW. WCW was targeted at 60-year-olds. WCW, guys, that is arguably the greatest, one of the greatest peaks of wrestling was that WCW peak because that was grown up. Guys, at the end of every main event, the ring was black, covered in graffiti, and then cones and all this kind of stuff thrown on there. So it was wild, bro. It was completely and honestly wild. I don't live in London, man. I told you I live in Mars. I don't know what London is. I live in Mars. I live in Mars. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't live in London, man. You know, I'm on Mars, man. I'm on Mars. What did you guys say, man? Yeah, see, because you see, I like Roman Reigns. There's just something about like he's got a very nice aura about him. And I just feel he has a good spirit. And also, look, any guy who is related or connected to The Rock is my friend because I think he's The Rock's cousin. But you could just tell that he just doesn't have the character. He has the look, he has the in-thing presence, but he just doesn't have the character. And people are unable to connect with him because they're like, okay, when you're coming in as a character, you have to come with an angle. As I told you, I know what angle I will come with. You know, like basically my wrestling name is gonna be called That's Amazing, and my finishing move is gonna be called Thought. Because I've told you, gonna be called Thought. Basically, my wrestling thing. Basically, I'm gonna come in with like a super bright golden silver jacket that basically sparkles and then has like sparkly things. And they see, as much as I hate Shawn Michaels, he had great tights. Those tights that he had with the boots were quality. So I'll have those Shawn Michaels trousers and everything. And basically, I would be like an outsider. I'd basically be like the Wolverine of wrestling. So if they ever gave me the belt, I'd probably just graffiti the belt and basically spit on the belt. Like what NWO did where when they won the belts, they basically made it NWO. So no. I would be a great wrestler, man. I would be an amazing wrestler, man. The break. Bro, I told you I can't wait. I can't wait because basically what's going to happen is that I'm launching the members thing. There's going to be like the members function on this channel, and what I'm going to do is basically where you guys can watch stuff with me. I've not figured out how you can do it. So guys, members and so forth can basically come in and watch stuff with me and so on. Because like, it would be cool if you could watch some Last Dance episodes. That documentary is so good. That documentary is so good. And for me, see, my second favorite sport is basketball. But even if you don't like basketball, if you like sport, you will love it. You will love it because it's not you don't have to be a basketball athlete in order to really get into it, because you just have to be into sports, because sports is a great thing in terms of being in a team, a superstar, trials and tribulations, getting through tough games and everything. So yeah, it's an amazing thing, man. All right. Oh, Vince is 71. Damn. Wow. Oh, look, I think you maybe missed when I said it, man. The best. Shazam, relax, bro, relax. So, the Shawn Michaels was probably the best in-ring performer in terms of technicality. Basically, you know what, man? You're a smart dude. Matches are stories. You see, Rey Mysterio was a great technical wrestler, but Shawn Michaels knew how to tell a great story in the ring in terms of a great match ebbs and flows. It rises, it goes down, it rises, goes down. Who's going to win? Who's not going to win? The emotions and you're telling a story. The great match is telling a great story. That's the greatest wrestling match of all time. WrestleMania 7, Ultimate Warrior against Macho Man Randy Savage. Look it up. Trust me. Trust Uncle HH. Look up. Triple H. Sorry. Look it up. Macho Man Randy Savage against Ultimate Warrior. I quit match from, I believe it's WrestleMania 7. I believe it's WrestleMania 7. Either WrestleMania 7 or WrestleMania 6. You know what? Let me just be clear here. Let me just be fully clear here. So what is it? No, that's it. Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, WrestleMania 7. So WrestleMania 7? Yeah, WrestleMania 7. Yep. That is, without a doubt, the greatest wrestling match of all time. I don't want to ruin it for you, but just watch it. Just watch that match. That is the greatest wrestling match of all time. Superb. But yeah, in the ring, it's telling a story. That's why for me, even if I was pissed off at the result, Shawn Michaels' performance in that Iron Man match against Bret Hart was incredible. And just that I just wanted him to lose. But Shawn Michaels had some of the best matches in terms of drama. The drama in his matches were incredible. I just wanted that dude to lose, man. Ooh. I don't know how many of you guys know about the Montreal Screwjob. So let's just take a little thing, man. Montreal Screwjob. See, if you're a Bret Hart fan, this is like the worst thing. If you're a Bret Hart fan like me and you hated Shawn Michaels, so let's just read this very thing. What's this? So the Montreal Screwjob was an infamous and controversial unscripted professional wrestling incident in which owner Vince McMahon and employees covertly manipulated the predetermined outcome of the match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So basically, now correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe just correct me if I'm wrong. See now, because I just wanted to re-climatize myself. So I believe this was going to be Bret Hart's final match in the WWF. And as you well know, Bret Hart is Canadian and proudly Canadian. So, lo and behold, it was like, this is perfect. He would have his final match. Yeah, he will have his final match at WWF. And he said, you know what? So now this is not where things get tricky. I don't know whether it was a case of where he wanted to win and Vince didn't allow him, or he wanted the fight to go another way. Wait. The manufacturer issue occurred without touching or result in enhancements. There we go. I know it. I get it. Yeah, I know. I remember. So this was it. Bret Hart was going to go to WCW, their rivals. I got it. This was when WWF and WCW were at the height of their rivalry. And WCW were just bringing all of their dudes. So Vince McMahon, he was fighting them. So Bret Hart said, look, this is my hometown. You cannot make me lose in my hometown, WWF and so forth. What I'll do is let me just win, and I will hand the belt over to you, because obviously you can't take the belt over to WCW. I'll just hand the belt over to you. But Vince said it's going to look real bad if our champion goes to WCW and then he then hands the belt over. No, the champion must win it and everything within the WWF confines. But Bret was like, no. So then what happened was, I think this was without, see now, I don't know whether Shawn Michaels knew about this. So Bret Hart's finishing move is the sharpshooter. So Shawn Michaels then had him in the sharpshooter. So he had him in this move, the sharpshooter move here. And basically, Vince came out and he ordered the dude to basically ring the bell to call the thing. And then what then happened was Shawn Michaels was then thinking champion. It was a complete mess because everyone knew that, okay, this was a screw job. Because normally when these things happen, people know in knowledge, but it's made everyone look bad. It's made Bret Hart look bad. It's made Shawn Michaels, a great fighter, look bad. It's made the organization of the WWF look bad because this obviously showed that what would happen in that wasn't agreed. So the WWF, it's an event. Imagine if you're watching a film. You're just watching a film and everything, and then the director of the film comes in the middle of the cinema and just says, no. Puts something, and then for some reason, suddenly you just see a totally different scene that has no context to what you were watching. It would ruin the whole experience of the thing that you put out. So that's, for me, Vince, I just don't know why Vince couldn't allow Bret Hart to win in flipping Montreal and then just hand the belt over. But see, in fairness, as much as I love Bret Hart and as much as I love him, you're there to service the company. You're not the story writer. You're not there to write the story. So as much as you'd wanted it, see, it's just so weird because Bret, see, and this is why it's made the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels rivalry so deep. They hated each other. They actually hated each other. So even if it's fake and so forth, they hated each other because they were battling for supremacy. So the worst thing that could happen to Bret Hart was losing to his sworn rival in his hometown, which is why Bret Hart, he went crazy. Like he spat at Vince McMahon, and I think he punched him. And Vince McMahon said, "You know what? I can allow you that's open shot, but next time I'm going to smack in the face next time." So, nah, man, that was poor form by Vince, man. It was poor form by Vince. Yeah, he did. Yeah, Bret, he knocked him out. He knocked him out of that. But yeah, that was just see. Luckily, I don't know where I was. I didn't see that fight live. I don't know why I didn't see that fight live. Because if I'd seen that live, I would have gone crazy. I would have gone ballistic if I saw that live. So, do you remember Yokozuna versus Undertaker casket match? I remember many casket matches. I can't remember. I remember Yokozuna versus Hulk Hogan. I really remember Hogan versus Yokozuna, but I don't remember Yokozuna versus Undertaker though. But Undertaker's matches against Sting were good. Vince McMahon is an underrated wrestling character, man. He is an underrated wrestling character, Vince McMahon. Yeah, I think I missed out. Randy Orton versus Undertaker. But how good is Undertaker really, man? How good is Undertaker really? So guys, no, send in. So remember, send in your questions, man. It doesn't have to be wrestling related, man. Just send in whatever questions you want, whatever questions you want. Send in those cues, man. Send in those cues. And remember, guys, if you any suggestions, because I've had some suggestions from people. Any suggestions you want for topics moving forward, email your boy at myhalfopot@gmail.com. So email your boy at myhalfopot at gmail.com, and I will take in whatever sort of suggestions you want for the coming through, man. Mount Rushmore of wrestling. So Mount Rushmore is a 5 or 4? I think it's 4, isn't it? That's a tough one. You have to have Hogan. No, you have to have The Rock, number one. You have to have The Rock, you have to have Hogan, you have to have Steve Austin. You have to have The Undertaker, for sure. And that 5th one is tricky. I would argue Macho Man Randy Savage. Sorry. It's 4. It's 4. Oh, 4. Sorry. Hogan, The Rock, Steve Austin, Undertaker. Hogan did too much and made so much of it, and he was the reason. He was the beginning of wrestling being popular. Undertaker has the greatest longevity. Undertaker is the Jay-Z of wrestling. His longevity is impeccable. Nobody has lasted longer than the Undertaker. The Rock changed wrestling. He single-handedly revolutionized wrestling, and he is the most popular wrestler of all time. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, his legacy is incredible. And I think that he was literally Steve Austin was the greatest anti-hero in wrestling history. He defined the very meaning of what being an anti-hero is. See, it's tough, man, because again, Bret Hart is one of my favorites. But is Bret Hart on Mount Rushmore? Ric Flair is a legend. Is Ric Flair on Mount, you can't argue with those 4. You cannot argue with those 4. That's those 4 as tough, man. Wait, how many of you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? How many of you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Woo! Oh man. How many of you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Because that's basically Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of those when I say Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like the better version of Scrubs. That's how I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it is very easy to watch. It's not like the most interesting, but in terms of just the ease of the comedy, it's really easy to watch, man. But where do you rank that stuff, man? If any of you have seen that stuff, man. Actually, that's actually an interesting question. What would be my dream match? A dream match. So pit 2 guys in any era. Actually, yeah. I'll ask that in, man. For you guys, what would be your dream wrestling match? If you could pick wrestlers of any era at their peak, your peak. I'm even trying to think now for myself. What would I think Steve Austin versus peak Steve Austin versus peak Macho Man Randy Savage would be crazy. Peak would be crazy because I think the Rock. I was always saying the Rock and Hogan. I think the Rock and Hogan fought. The Rock and Ultimate Warrior would be crazy. The Rock and the Ultimate Warrior would be crazy. Kurt Angle. Oh wow. You know what? I think that's the most interesting one. Basically, basically Battle of the Giants, Battle of the Giants, man, Battle of the Giants, man. Um, yo, peace out, Sammy. Yo, peace out, peace out, peace out. Stay true, stay safe, man, and stay healthy, man. And save me a curly fry. Save me a curly fry. Rock against Rey Mysterio. Oh, that'd be interesting. But you see, I would rather see. You know what I would like to see? Rey Mysterio versus Jimmy Snuka. Like, I think that is a better matchup in terms of acrobatics and athletic stuff. Rey Mysterio versus Jimmy Snuka. Um, so, oh. Oh man, what footballers would make good wrestlers? I think Balotelli would make a great wrestler. Oh, Diego, Diego Costa would be an amazing wrestler. Neymar would be superb. Can you see Neymar's basically all those guys who are good at us diving would Neymar would be superb. Neymar would be superb. Cristiano would actually be pretty good though, because he'd be a great person to just hate and despise. Um Balotelli would be great. I think the best wrestler I think would probably be Diego Zlatan. Yeah, Zlatan would be good, man. Zlatan would be good. Zlatan would be good. Actually, yeah. You see, that's the thing. I get it because you have to have a personality, though. That's the thing. Trish Stratus versus HH. Look, man, Trish Stratus was all right, man. Back in her day, Trish Stratus was all right. And there was this other chick as well. I can't remember her name. Damn it! There was this chick around the time of Goldust, and she used to wear black. Not China. And I think she had blonde hair. I think, and she always used to wear like black leather. You know, so, she alright, she alright, man. Um, no, that's also it wasn't. It wasn't. I can't. I think it was Sable. Oh my gosh, man, my memory is crazy. I think it was Sable. Wait. Oh, if I get this right, I am. Ah, yes. Sable. Yeah. Oh man, that's old school, man. That's just old school. Oh man, look, my wrestling was wild, man. Wrestling was wild. Yeah, Sable. That's the one. Oh my god, but how the hell did I remember that, man? Lita was cool. You see, I really like people like Sable and people they're just there just for looks. Lita was a good character. Lita was a really good character, and she could wrestle. You see, a lot of these women that I see now, I'm like, they're just there for their looks, but Lita could actually wrestle. Lita was actually a really good wrestler. Um, this was actually a really good wrestler, man. What was it? What happened? Oh no, look, man, I just have to get Daniel, man. I have to get Daniel to read it, but no, it will return. It will return. Don't worry, man. It will return. Don't worry, bro. We're going to be doing it, man. We're going to be doing it. Movies don't look fake. Have you seen Total Recall, the new film? Have you seen any kind of crappy low budget horror films? Trust me, I can give you a list of films where the CGI looks horrendous. I love the film as well. Have you seen Escape from LA? So, bro, I don't know what the heck you're smoking, man. Um, I don't know whether I saw this one. Was this the one where he brings out the hammer and it's like with blood and everything? I don't know whether it was this one. Um, but no, there was I think Stone Cold. No, it was Mankind. I don't know who Mankind fought. Um, Mankind had an amazing Hell in a Cell um bout. I don't know who it was, but he had a crazy Hell in a Cell bout, man. But I don't know, but I do not know who it was with, man. But no, but yeah, no, those things were crazy, man. So guys, look, how are you guys coping with this whole lockdown stuff, man? Do you know I haven't seen any of my friends or my family for like over um for like over a month now. That is insane. I've not had any physical contact with any of my friends or my family for over a month. Freak. That's crazy, man. That is crazy, bro. Like this lockdown has been wild, man. That's why doing these lives is actually therapeutic, man. It is just therapeutic. So let's so I can just talk and just chill. I can just talk and chill. Um, just talk and chill. Oh my gosh, Cactus. Yeah, I think I remember. I used to remember Cactus Jack. Who's Cactus Jack again? Cactus Jack. Oh yeah, this was his. You see, I didn't like this dude though. I preferred Mankind. See, I didn't like this dude. I was like, he was a bit too different, man, for me. Mankind, this guy was crazy. But see, this is a character. See, for me, I just found Mankind just weird. But even if someone is weird, you are attracted to it. So you're like, because you're like, wait, what is this dude though? And look at what this guy looks like, man. But see, this just shows creativity. This just shows great, amazing creativity. Because just look at what he looks like. Like he's got like an office shirt, a weird tie, a mask on his face. Basically, you can't ignore him. When you look at it, like, whoa, what is that? What the heck is that? You know, I mean, that is just amazing, man. Where do you rate Chris Jericho? The walls of Jericho. You see, Chris Jericho for me, he'd probably be like a tier two. He'd be like a tier two wrestler. I don't think I can put him into upper tier two. Let's say upper tier two is where you're not getting into like Bret Hart's Rey Mysterio territory. But I mean, pretty good personality. But I think when you just look at it, decent, like really good, decent wrestler. Like he knew what he was doing. Exactly. But I just think that's it. So I'd say tier two is definitely where he'd be at. I think that's a great. And look, man, and he's had Chris Jericho has been around for a while. Chris Jericho has been around for a while. I think who's been around? Has Triple H been longer than Chris Jericho, or has Chris Jericho been longer? Who's been longer? Um, that's what I want to know. Um, Thoughts on DC animated movies? Some are cool. Some are cool. I'll keep it real with you. I don't know which one. I think I saw one with Darkseid. And for me, that's a lot of the animated DC stuff is actually better than the actual films. As I always say to DC, man, like no one cares about your DCE, bro. Like literally no one cares about your freaking DCE. No one cares. Um, just don't, man. Um, oh wow, 92. A little bit of the bubbly. um, you see, you know what? See, Triple H for me is I've never liked Triple H, but I've always respected him as a character. So whenever like I've never rooted for Triple H in any fight. There's just something about it where like I just don't like this dude. But first of all, it's a really cool that the pedigree is a really good finishing move. That's a really cool finishing move. Greatest finishing move of all time. The greatest finishing move I would say is it's between it's between the stunner and the people's elbow. In terms of just a move, it's a stunner. But in terms of the whole package and the performance, he takes off his pad, he throws it through, he does so. But the greatest submission, that's figure four leg lock, man. Ooh. I think I did it on someone one time, man. The figure four leg lock is I think this way. Tombstone Power Driver. Tombstone Power Driver is another really, really good one as well. Um, is it fair to say Messi's better, but Diego's greater? You could say that. Even if I do feel that Diego still needs to be given credits for being very good, but I've always said like in terms of talent, man, Leo is that dude, man. But I just think greatness is more than just talent, man. Great, it's better than like greatness is about more. It's about the whole package. It's beyond just what you can do tangibly. But if you just say tangibly, you can make that argument. You can make that argument. Yeah, look, as I said, I think I was saying to Jamvan, man, it's like, bro, I'm watching the X-Men cartoon series now. And the X-Men cartoon series, this stuff is pretty much just as good. Like this stuff is pretty much just as good as no, it's not. The cartoons are better than the films. Like I just got done watching the X-Men films, man. I'm like, the cartoons are better. The cartoons are better. Also, that's why I'm just I'm actually going to watch some of these X-Men cartoons after this. Actually, so actually, what is the RKO? What is the R? I've heard of that. Oh, so it's thing is finishing move, isn't it? Oh, okay. Okay. So that's what, like Randy Orton's finishing move, man. All right, guys, man. Look, man. I think I need to actually go and eat. I need to cook some stew and go and eat, man. But obviously, I'll be back 11 p.m. So the next show is going to be Tuesday, isn't it? So we're going to have our Tuesday show, and Tuesday we'll see what happens. So show on Tuesday, show on Wednesday, and yeah. So basically, remember, there's the shows are every day apart from Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So sometimes the timings may change depending on if I'm working from home, but more often than not, so it's either going to be 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. But more times than not, it's going to be 7 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. No, sorry. It's going to so the shows will be at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because Thursday 8 p.m. is the Q&A for the football dugout. So maybe I should think of something. I think I know what to do on Thursday. I think I know what to do on Thursday. I think I know what to do on Thursday. All right, guys, peace out. Stay true and watch this space. Watch this space. Watch this space. I'm out.